I've realized how bad the epidemic is from the amount of families that we see. If I get a call from a family that's lost a family member now, whether the family's open about the manner of passing or just simply the age, my mind goes immediately to this person overdosed. So I would say it's affecting the funeral business in the sense that it's creating a demand of funerals for a demographic that shouldn't be here.
The way I got involved with this epidemic, the opioid epidemic, is losing a son. He hurt his back and was given an opioid pain med, and that's what turned his tables. He chewed it instead of took it like prescribed, and he said from that point on is when he was hooked.
My daughter was a beautiful, talented, compassionate young lady. She ended up, and this is, the drugs got more dangerous. She started using psychotropics, LSD, mushrooms, and eventually Dilaudid, and eventually she started experimenting with heroin at that point. So that weekend, she told us who she was going to stay with, but that person couldn't accommodate her either. He didn't want her staying with him, and he put her up in a hotel room, and that's where she overdosed fatally.
We found him the day before Christmas Eve on 2016 on the floor. He had a needle in his arm. He had Narcan actually on his bedside table, and he had tooth fairy money for his daughter, but he was on the floor, dead.
When you got 195 deaths last year, and the year before we had 220 deaths, and the year before that 169 deaths, and those add up real quick, and these are human souls. So people are starting to understand this is an epidemic that'll touch any one of us at a moment's notice, that this is happening everywhere, every demographic, every economic, social part of our community is being touched by this.
The people are upstairs and it's really dark there anyway, so I'd rather just stay down here if you don't mind.
That's all right with you?
A bunch of clothes and stuff we left. We used to bring them clothes, especially during the winter. Caps, you got these drugs come in these little things. These are cookers, Q-tips for cotton, for juvenile.
It's like right after high school, or right after the graduation, or right before it, my friend, he gave me a pill, and he said, try this, and it turned out to be OxyContin. I didn't know anything about, opiates or what their effects were, or anything that it would have on me. But I remember trying it, and the feeling that I got was unlike anything. I had a friend describe it as it was like crawling back into the womb. It was like a safe feeling, like, I don't know, like serenity in a pill, you know what I mean? And that's the only feeling I ever wanted after that. I just didn't see my life getting any better. And, I was just looking for something, some way out, some way to just not feel the way I was feeling, and some way to, just opt out of life for a little bit.
We lost our son Scott February 22nd, 2016. Scott struggled with heroin addiction, and our younger daughter did as well. She's doing pretty good now. So we decided after he passed to start SOARS, which is Substance Overdose Awareness Recovery Service. It could help anyone out there struggling, families that are struggling. We started a grief support group, Forever in Our Hearts, where families can come and just be with people that get it and understand what they're going through,
Hope Dealers is a support group. We support addicts who are still in active addiction. We support addicts in recovery and their family members. We pick up needles. We do outreach while we're doing cleanup, which involves lunches, clothing, personal care items, survival gear, and Narcan that we're passing out during that. We meet every Sunday between 9:30 and 10 a.m. right here at 10 Sullivan Street. And then we spread out all over the city and clean up all day till about 3:30.
I think fentanyl is devastating our country, our communities and our country, and it's sad. You know, we have to, I think our sheriff, Todd Baxter, is just taking the reins and run with this. We have a heroin task force I'm a part of, and I work with the sheriff's department. They're cracking down on dealers and they're putting them away, and that's a beautiful thing too, you know.
I think it's very clear. If you go downstairs in our building, you'll see signs all over our building, and it says, you know, if you're selling dope on the streets of Monroe County, we're coming for you. And we're quite frank about that. And we don't say that to be vogue. We don't say that to be rogue. We don't say that to be antagonistic. But you are selling dirty dope that's killing other people, and we cannot tolerate that. You know. And then for the people that are stuck in the addictive state, we've said it before. We're here for you. We understand that you're not trying to commit criminal intent. You're trying to survive, and if we get you in the backseat of a police car with handcuffs, we are now looking at you. Can we do other things with you besides just put you inside the Monroe County Jail? Are there other ways we can get you into treatment?
For anyone out there, you know, who's suffering from addiction, you know, please get help. There is life after recovery. Recovery is possible. There's so many peer mentors out there who are willing to help. There's so many facilities, outpatient, inpatient. There's so many people who would be rooting for you. It is possible.
What I would say to any parent of a heroin addict who died, don't blame yourself. This is a brain disease. This is not your fault.
You know, first of all, we say it all the time. When we look at these maps throughout Monroe County, when we look at the maps, we think of those dots. Each one of those dots, we can click on it, it pulls up a name. You know, it's not just a dot on the map. It's a human soul, and that's how I could not express my condolences enough. No one raises their kid to become addicted. No one raises their kid to lose their kid to something so horrific as this, to an epidemic that's unfolding right in front of us. And I would not blame them if they're a little pissed off at the world. You know, and the fact is, we've watched this thing grow for 10 years, and if they weren't warned, if they weren't told of how scary this thing is, and it's right behind each one of us. Every community member here in our community should be aware that it's right behind us. It's knocking at our door. You know, our condolences to anybody that's lost someone, our heartfelt frustration with them that there's not more that we can do or should have been doing or should be doing right now. And the fact is, I think you're seeing everybody starting to come around now and say, you know what, this is not someone else's problem. These are good people that we're losing here, and we need to start thinking about that. They didn't lose a person that was an addict. They lost a son or daughter, and we got to look at it like that. They lost a human soul that was precious to them.
I feel so sorry for the parents. I mean, there's really nothing that I can say to them except be strong, and don't let your child have died in vain. Use that example and go out and educate and teach and perhaps, you know, prevent more deaths.
What I would say to somebody who has a child that is addicted to heroin, I would love to sit and talk an hour with them, because I was there and I know where they are now, and I know the struggles and the pain that they have because of their son or daughter being an active user, but also to point them things that they can do that I wished I had done, or things I did that did help.
But one of the other things that we started here at the Sheriff's Office is inside the jail, we actually started a medical assisted therapy wing, where now we have people that are screened inside the Monroe County Jail. If they're in an addictive state, we have now brought, if you will, if this is a tough sell and a culture change, we now bring drugs into the jail, and they're medically prescribed drugs with doctors prescribing them. But as people are going through that addictive state in the jail, they can now start their medical assisted therapy inside. But I always say I have 90-day inpatient beds. I have 180-day inpatient beds. You know, if you've been sentenced by a judge for how many days, I now can make you the inpatient bed that your family's been dreaming of. I have you in custody and an inpatient bed. So my challenge to my staff is make the Betty Ford Clinic of addiction inside the Monroe County Jail, because we got what everybody else dreams of. We got them in custody, which is a great benefit.